What's going on, everybody? A little bit of impromptu Dawkins on Duke this week. Had a little bit of news, and we have closet Duke fan here, Jeff Goodman, with us. What's up, Jeff?
I am a closet Duke fan. Duke fans don't know it. They think I hate Duke, but you know what?
They definitely do.
All I'll say, Dre, is every fan base in America thinks I hate their team. Every fan base. I went to Arizona. And I'm telling you, when I check in a hotel in Arizona, not anymore, but when it used to be, I had to check in under an assumed name. Like I literally had to change. Yeah, they hated me. They were calling me, waking my ass up in the middle of the night at the hotel the year before. So I'm like, I ain't dealing with that shit again. So, like, again, there are very few fan bases. My daughter is a junior in high school, and we're trying to figure out, where she's going to go to school. Mm-hmm. And she's like, can I go somewhere that fans don't hate you at least?
Small school, I guess, maybe.
No, we've come up Ohio State. Oh,
okay. They like you. Okay.
Yeah, nothing negative.
Well, hopefully they don't lose a bad game, and then they get taken off the list.
I'm gonna be smart. I gotta be smart. If it's on her list, I gotta be nice. Oh man, we got a crazy day today, though. Crazy day.
Yeah. Prompted a quick get on Zoom, everybody, kind of thing. So, if you don't know, Mr. Jalen Johnson has opted out of the rest of the season and is going to enter his name into the NBA draft a few weeks before the season ends. Are we Goodman? Is it a Goodman bomb?
No, I don't. I think it was me and somebody else at about the same time. So I don't think I necessarily broke it, but I'm not surprised by it, Dre, because back in it was December. I think I was in Charleston at the time. I was in Charleston for a couple of weeks, and that's when I put out there's more to the foot injury. I wasn't buying the foot injury, and I put it out there. There was so much more going on behind the scenes. I said it. I tweeted it. Duke fans kind of came at me for it, saying I was a Duke hater. But trust me, now I think everybody realizes there was more going on behind the scenes all year between Jalen Johnson's camp and Duke. And ultimately, I'm not sure this is bad for either side. I actually think it's kind of a win-win for both. A lot of people say, well, Jalen Johnson quit. Listen, I hate to say anybody quit in a pandemic right now. That's the only thing I'll say in the kid's behalf is we're in a pandemic. He's got a lot of people pulling at him. He came into the season as a lottery pick, projected. He sees his stock falling. He plays 8 minutes.
Yeah, in a blowout.
He says, you know what? I'm going to protect. And agents are all over him. So agents are in his ear, in his dad's ear, telling him, you know what? The more you play, 8 minutes, the more your stock is going to fall. So you might want to just bail at this point. And that's what I think happened. I don't have 100% confirmation on that. But I think it's similar to what happened with Terrence Clark at Kentucky, where stock's falling. All right, you know what? We got to
stop it here and just get ready for the draft. Yeah, I can see that, especially. I mean, it doesn't look great when you only play 8 minutes and they play one of their better games of the year on both ends of the court. So, I tend to agree with what you said about. It's okay for both sides, I think. Either way, whether he played the rest of the season or not, he's not going to be there next year. So, it gives guys like Mark, a chance to really, he's not looking over his shoulder. He's going to get a lot of minutes and, for this year and, moving forward. So, it's good for the Duke team because we got a lot of young guys who are going to hopefully be back on the team next year. So they get a chance to be on the court together and play together. And
chemistry.
Yeah.
How important is chemistry?
Yeah, very, very. Won us a championship in 2010. So
sure did. Your chemistry that year was ridiculous.
Yeah.
You weren't the most talented team.
No.
Right? You would agree?
No, I don't. Yeah, we definitely weren't the most talented. Kentucky was the most talented team by far.
Right. But I think was Jalen Johnson a distraction? I don't know. I don't know how much of a distraction. I don't know how much it affected the other players. But again, listen, if Coach K wanted to keep Jalen Johnson, he would have played him more than 8 minutes last game, period. Yeah. So I don't think he's fretting about Jalen Johnson leaving, especially because, to me, if you're going to lose games, right, if you're going to lose games, you're going to lose games with people that are bought in completely.
Yeah,
and I think they felt like Jalen was never completely bought in. And he's not alone. It's different than when you were in college, right? It's changed now a little bit to where, there's more people pulling at these kids, social media, whatnot. But yeah, I don't think Jalen Johnson was fully invested. I think he thought he was a one and done, and he's going to be a 3/4 and done.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I don't know. I'm not in the locker room, so, I won't speculate on that. But yeah, it is important, to have guys bought in, especially at the college level. The NBA level is a little bit different, but I mean, you obviously still like to have guys bought in, but you can kind of work around that. But and knowing Coach, I just don't think that is something he would go along with in the sense of like, you're going to have to, if you want to play, then earn your playing time. It's not going to be I'm going to play you so you don't go anywhere.
Yep.
So I don't see that really sitting too well.
What was the biggest problem with him on the court, Dre? Like, what did you think from watching him? He had his moments. I mean, came out.
Yeah. When he played good. When he was, really fully locked in, he was great. He was great. And, he did it a few times. He started the year amazing. And I'm like, oh, man, this is.
Yeah, that Morgan State game. That Morgan State game, we were like, whoa.
Okay, this
my man here, right?
Yeah, it's like 19 and 19. Yeah. The Pitt game, the second half, he kept us in it by himself. But then you also have the games where you're on the opposite end of the spectrum and you're getting a lot of empty minutes, him not doing a whole lot. And I don't know. I think I don't know, if you're worried about the next thing, it's hard to do well on the thing that you're doing currently. Yeah. And so if you're worried about my stock, I got to get onto the league and this, that, and the third, it's hard to be good at the game you're playing now because, in college, it's such a team game. You need your teammates, and he's not, and no disrespect to him at all, he's not this transcendent player. So he can't, I don't
because he can't do this.
Right.
Dre.
Right. And so I don't think that he could just kind of float through games and, you know what I mean? Like if like a Zion was like, man, whatever, like, yeah, he can do that because no one can do anything about him. But not, again, no disrespect to Jalen. I think he's good. I think he's a good player. And I think he'll have a, decade-long career or so in the league. But
who's he? Yeah, like? Who do you watch in the NBA and you say he can be like ultimately? I hate to play the comparison game, but I feel like sometimes you want to project. All right, what Jalen Johnson, again, not a great shooter, not a great like decent passer,
Yeah, I think he makes some good passes at times. But that's tough. I mean, I think we talked about it earlier in the year. At his best, he's a poor man's Ben Simmons. Yeah. And at his worst, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know that he sees the court much. So I don't know. It'll be interesting because, now at this point, you forego the season and, you're going to get drafted and whatnot. Now, it's no longer like, oh, well, I'm just getting ready for the league. Right. Now it's like, okay, now you have to put up.
Yeah.
Now you have to play. You can't just say, oh, I wouldn't play. I don't want to get hurt. I didn't want to affect my stock. It's like, now you're here now
We got red flags too. Now
Yeah,
like I
absolutely.
got
I would.
NBA guys texting me all night tonight, like a ton of them, saying like, all right, what really happened here?
Yeah.
And my deal to them is like, I don't know exactly what happened, but I know Duke isn't crying about this one. That's what I know. I know that Duke, right?
Yeah. I'm not in the locker room, so I'm not, I don't know. But in this, you go to a school like Duke where I would assume from the NBA guys, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt on this because so many guys have done the one and done thing already there and had no issue. And, even if you want to go like, he had an injury, Kyrie had an injury, came back. Zion had an injury, came back. Like they've done it before. And
look
and
at
they've
Cole Anthony. Look at Cole Anthony last year. He
on a
came
really
back
bad team and came back. Yeah.
They were atrocious.
Yeah. There's no reason for you to come back.
Zero. I give him
credit. And no one would have said, dang, I can't believe he didn't come back. Nobody would have said anything. Shout out to him. But yeah, it's like it's interesting, man, because just haven't had that issue before. And it's not like even the guys before that have had injuries, none of those guys were rushed back. None of those guys were like, we got to get you back on the court or else. Zion, they took super slow. Kyrie, they took super slow. And, Kyrie was out the whole year essentially. Yeah. So, even if it's a on my foot thing, I don't know. It just, it is interesting. And I would have loved to have been in the locker room and, just kind of seen how it all transpired, honestly.
I remember seeing a video when I was in Charleston. I think it was still when he was gone. He left the team. They had that break or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he left the team and he was watching his brother. His brother was in high school back in where is he from? Milwaukee. And somebody sent me the video, a live stream, and they were like, watch him. And he's up jumping around. And I'm like, he's got a foot injury. I couldn't see if he had a boot on or not. I don't think he did. But he's jumping around on the sidelines. And I'm like, well, if the foot's that bad.
Right. Yeah.
What's he doing here?
Yeah.
So again, listen, to each their own.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You let these kids make their own decision. Unfortunately, I'm not sure this was Jalen Johnson's decision. And
that's the other thing. Yeah.
That's my biggest problem with a lot of this, Trey, is like these days, like it's not always the kids' decisions, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's the people around him, whether it's the family, whether it's an agent, whether it's an AU coach or just a runner. Mm-hmm. There's so many people pulling at these guys. Protect your draft stock. Protect your draft. Well, maybe the kid wanted to play. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know what. And in this pandemic year, it's just so hard to kill a kid. Like I've always believed, and that's why I didn't kill him in November. I was very smart. All I said was like, hey, I think there's more to it than this foot injury. And I didn't say, hey, you know what? Duke can't stand him or he can't stand Duke or any of that stuff. It was just like, hey, guys, there's more going on behind the scenes, which there was. But I just don't believe in killing kids in college. Like once you get to the NBA and you're making more money than me, that's a little different. And maybe some of these kids are making more money than me already.
Yes, they might be some places.
There are some. I don't know who they are for sure, but
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I wasn't in the position to have, people like that in my ear. So I don't know exactly what that's like. But you can definitely see, and not just him, there are players all around the country that have people in their ears talking to them and things like that. And, like you said, he is a kid. He's 18, 19 years old. So yeah, I agree.
He's been at 3 different high schools. So
because I thought someone was saying he had an issue like that at IMG.
I think he bailed, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, I think he left at IMG too. Yeah.
And again, that's part of what makes it easier to do this now. He's already done it several times and left teammates. Where if you've been with a group for however many years, it's hard to leave those guys, right? You build that bond. He didn't really have that bond this year. He just he didn't. I mean, you're with him. You're not together in the summer. You get there in August instead of being there in June. That's another big difference with Jalen Johnson. They didn't have that whole summer to build that chemistry.
Yeah. So, and he didn't, and having that summer probably helps him be a better version of himself on the court. 100%. And you know, that could also be a part of it where he may be frustrated not in a sense of I'm not getting these many minutes, which that is part of it for sure. But it could also be a frustration of I'm not playing like I should, and frustrated with that. And so, I mean, I think, you know, he gets a full summer and gets to, you know, do a whole preseason and get on the court and everybody gets to learn each other. Then, you know, I think he puts a better product out on the court as well, which, you know, would have helped. And winning always helps. You know, if we're 15-1, nobody's going anywhere. You know, if we're 15-1, he's averaging 19, 8 and 5, and you know, first team All-American. His foot would be fine, and
then his stock's rising.
He's top 3 now. Everything's great. I mean, so it's a bunch of factors, obviously, that went into this.
When you look at, and I know you haven't looked at everybody in the NBA draft, but when you watch the NBA, and again, mentioned a little bit ago, where the NBA has gone, where shooting is such a, you know, premium these days. Yeah. That's what everybody wants. He's not a great shooter. You know, my biggest question comes, well, how hard of a worker is he? Because if he's not a great shooter now, Dre, and he's not a big time worker, you're not getting better. Now, you can get better. That is the one area that NBA guys feel like you can get better over time. I saw Darrell Wright years ago. I don't know if you remember Darrell Wright, but Darrell Wright was a freak athlete in high school who couldn't shoot a lick. And then he led the NBA in 3-point percentage one year. He worked that. So you can do that. But ultimately, if you're not a worker, which I'm not sure Jalen Johnson is, that's going to be a major problem at the next level.
Yeah. I mean, I can't speak on his work ethic. I don't know the guy like that, but I 100% agree. Because where his jump shot is now, it needs a lot of work. And I mean, that's just a fact. And so it's going to take, you know, a lot of time. I mean, hell, even when I was in Miami with the Heat for a little bit, I consider myself a good shooter. I work with their shooting guy, you know, and I took.
Hey, you're underrating yourself. You were a good shooter. You were a hell of a shooter.
Yeah, so you know, I could shoot the ball, and I went, you know, post every practice, I would go to our shooting guy and talk with him and say, you know, what do you think about this? And we would bounce ideas off, and he helped me, and he changed some stuff in my jump shot, not up top, but you know, base wise, hips down.
Really,
and so. Like Jalen is not the level of shooter that I was. So, you know, he's definitely going to need a decent amount of work. And it takes a lot of time, tons of time. And if you're not willing to listen, or if you're not willing to be there, because it's going to be more than your regular practice time. You know, you're going to have to do post-practice, pre-practice, pre-game, all that stuff. And if you're not willing to do that, or if you have people, you know, on the outside who say, no, this guy says this, so, you know, we're going to do that. Or, you know, no, we got this shooting coach and he's great. And, you know, he says you should flare your elbow out and shoot from the side of your head, and you're just going to keep doing that forever, then it's never going to work, because you got to be able to shoot the ball. Now, and it's very few exceptions. I mean, even LeBron has developed a jump shot, a consistent jump shot. He's a good shooter now. So if LeBron felt the need, if LeBron has felt the need to get a consistent jump shot, then hey, we all need one.
Exactly. That's right. So going forward now, they got Wake next, right? They got
Mhm.
Wake Wednesday, Virginia at home. Virginia just got spanked by Florida State.
Oh, really?
Got crushed by 20. I mean, the whole game,
Oof.
Florida State just dominated Virginia. Dominated.
Oof.
Credit to Rob Doster for calling that one. Yeah, that one.
Is that one of the ones he got correct? I
Yeah,
feel
he
like
and then they get Syracuse at home. So at Wake is a big one because then you got two at home, Virginia and Syracuse. Can this galvanize a team a little bit? With the last game coming off that high, and now this happening, does this help?
I think it can, especially if you can feel that a guy isn't there, and you can and he leaves, then I think it could bring a little bit of energy to the team and say, okay, now everyone here is here.
Bought in.
Yeah, and so yeah, I think it can help. We'll see. I mean, I think Jalen is very talented. I wish he would. I wish I wish we didn't have to see him go. I would obviously rather him on the team, but sometimes situations like this are addition by subtraction. And no disrespect to Jalen, but
100%. Yep.
Sometimes you're like, man, why did that team get rid of that guy, or why that guy leave? And he's good, but they seem better. And it could be one of those situations. And he didn't play much in the last game, and they walked away with that win against NC State. And not that NC State is a great team or whatever,
but they beat
but
them
no,
up.
yeah, but we haven't done that very often this year. So yeah, hopefully they feel like, okay, everybody here is all in, and let's move forward and see what we can do.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. I kind of been saying it earlier on the year that I felt like they didn't give Mark Williams enough of a shot early.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's, again, Mark Williams isn't, maybe they were worried about. And part of it is the perception, right? You got Jalen Johnson, who's the highest rated guy.
Absolutely.
And that's probably what they're worried about the most today. It's like, how does this hurt them potentially in recruiting?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it will. I really don't think it will.
I don't either, just because it's kind of what I mentioned earlier. Like, they've done it. So, hey, I want to be one and done. Like, yeah, we can do that. We can get you better. You guys like Tatum and Ingram, who just gradually improved over the season, and then end up going, top 3 kind of thing. So it's not like this isn't something that happens a lot.
Nope.
So I think it's one off, on top of the fact that, if you really looked at it, he left IMG the year before. And then, so it's like, I don't know, is this a Duke thing, or is
he a Duke kid? I guess is what I say.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that, right? I hate to say, is he a Duke kid? Because that's like pigeonholing a Duke kid.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's the same. But I kind of said that when Trayvon Duval went there. And I remember having a conversation with Trey about that. And him even saying to me, it was before the season started, him even saying, like, yeah, I never thought I'd end up at Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. He had bounced around at multiple schools. There's some questions about him in a system, in a team like that was a little more disciplined than what he had gone through. And yeah, you do worry, and you worry even more this year, because it's harder to get a feel for these kids that you're recruiting when you're recruiting them via Zoom.
Yeah.
So are there going to be more mistakes made next year, with the guys that they're bringing in next year? Now, I love Paulo. Like, Paulo,
he looks like the truth. Yeah, he looks legit.
He's a killer.
Yeah.
He's absolutely, like, I think he's got some Chris Webber in him.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. That's the guy that when I watch him, and I'm old enough to have seen Chris Webber, a younger Chris Webber, like, I feel like he's got some C-Web in him. Like, he is. He'll change things next year. Now, I don't know if Matthew Hurt comes back. I doubt it. I think he leaves probably after this year, and maybe he sneaks into the back end of the first round, but maybe early second round, whatever it is. I just think with the numbers he's going to put up this year, probably goes.
Yeah.
To me, it's Paolo's team next year. I really believe that.
Yeah, I just a little bit of stuff I've watched. I really like his game, and I think in terms of being a Duke guy, it takes a little bit of buy-in. Even for your one and dones, you do have to come and buy into the system and buy into the fact that you're gonna have to earn your minutes. I mean, now for some guys, for a Kyrie, that didn't take long to earn your minutes, but he earned his minutes nonetheless. And so it's all the same. Like everyone now, not everyone gets treated the same. Obviously, that's just a fact of life. But more or less, it's not like crazy, you know what I mean? Like you're not going to come in and be pampered. You're going to come in, you're going to have to practice, you're going to have to practice hard, especially as a freshman. You have to learn everything, and it takes buying in. It takes a guy to say, all right, I'm going to be here for 6 months.
Yep.
I'm going to be a part of the team. I'm going to be one of the guys. I'm going to buy in, for this time that I'm here, and then do my thing, and then I'm out. So but yeah, I am excited about Paolo, and it's probably just a lot of wishful thinking, hoping that Matt comes back. But I would like to see him come back.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, I think you go, Matt and Paolo together, man.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
Oh, and they just complement each other pretty well. Like Paolo's just a beast.
Yeah.
I saw him plenty in the summer, a summer and a half ago. And then I was in Seattle last year about this time and saw him in a game. It was kind of funny. We were sitting outside, got there a little bit late, and it was at O'Day. I think it was at O'Day High School. And I'm sitting outside because we got there a little bit late, and who's standing out there with me, and we can't get in. It's completely packed.
Mm-hmm.
It's Jamal Crawford. And they wouldn't let either of us in. Like nobody came. Like I
wouldn't let Jamal Crawford in. You couldn't even get in with Jamal.
Couldn't get in, and I give him so much credit because most dudes, former NBA player like that, they come in and they're like, "I'm in." Like,
yeah,
like
absolutely.
Seattle, like it's like one of the greatest.
Yeah, in Seattle too. Like that's crazy. Yeah,
and he never complained at all. At all. We walked in at halftime, and we saw the second half, and man, like I said, I had seen Paolo before, but he can take the ball off the glass and go.
Mm-hmm.
So physically gifted, and so he gives you that intimidating factor that you don't have with Duke this year. They don't.
Yeah.
They just don't have a dude like him who's just an MFer. That's what he is. And that's what this Duke team I thought that's what Jalen was going to be. I really did. Like after game one or the first I was like, this dude's gonna be an MFer. Like he's gonna be a killer. And like certain days he was.
Yeah, he can be. He has it, and that's why he's whatever he is, number 6 prospect right now, is because at his best, he's a problem. He's tough. He's getting to the basket. He's making other people better. He's blocking shots. He's dunking on people, and you're like, whoa.
Right.
But the question at the next level is like, there are a lot of guys who can do that for short periods of time. You know what I mean? Like the 13th or 14th guy on a roster can be really good for a couple minutes, but the guys who are starters and playing a lot of minutes are really good all the time. Or most of the time. And then your superstars are really good all the time. And so that's what I think he's got to figure out. The next level is how do I be the the season opener guy, the 19-19 guy, or the pick guy, always.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. Well, the post Jalen Johnson era begins
a little early, a couple weeks early.
We hardly knew you, Jalen. We hardly knew you.
Well, if he's got time on his hands, maybe he'll hop on the pod and chat with him.
Try to get him. He's trying to get him. Jalen.
I'll see.
How do you think that's going to work out?
I don't know.
I'm not saving the date. So
no, I don't. I wouldn't do that. I don't think he's doing any Duke podcasts anytime soon.
Yeah, it might be a few years. If we're still around in a few years, we'll get him then.
All right, that's good. Yeah, I'm sure we can do that, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we can do that.
Let it settle down.
We got to work on Jason Tatum, but we got to wait till the Celtics start playing better again. They've been awful. They have.
Yeah, they've been struggling a little bit.
They're calling for Brad Stevens to be fired here in Boston.
Oh my goodness,
they are calling for him to be fired.
Who they want to get?
Anybody but Brad Stevens right now.
Oh,
you
please.
ain't been to Boston. They don't care who it is. They want Brad Stevens paid right now. I know.
Well, if the timing's right, then he can come down and replace Coach.
They'll do that. No, they'll like in Duke, they'll probably want that when K retires. That was the big rumor years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
I wouldn't mind that.
Well,
I wouldn't mind that at all. But yeah, that's it for our emergency Dawkins on Duke pod this week. And we will catch you on the next one.